everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Samantha Anderson. I am a freelance artist and teacher hoping to inspire creativity. If you would like more videos like these, please take a second to like and subscribe down below. It really helps in the algorithm of YouTube to help get my videos seen to more people. If you want to receive notifications of when I go live, please make sure to hit the bell and choose all notifications. If you have any questions during or after the class, make sure to pop a comment down below and I will answer it as soon as I can. I'll be leaving timestamps down below so you can skip ahead to the start of class, but I will be sharing announcements as well as supplies, so make sure to stick around for that. If interested in learning more about my classes, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and feel free to check me out on Patreon, where I teach exclusive classes to those who support me. In Patreon, I also give traceables for all of my live classes, including this one. Lastly, if you would like to share your work after class with me and others who painted along with us, please head over to Facebook, as I have an artist community where you can share your finished painting with us. I'll leave links for all of that in the description box below. Thanks for joining me, and let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome back to another live class. I'm so sorry for the little delay that we had. My computer decided to restart and do an update as I was getting ready for class. So I apologize for that. And then secondly, I am still getting over a cough. I've had it for like 6 weeks or something like that. So I am drinking my tea. It is not even close to my water, so hopefully I won't dip any paint in it. But yeah, that is what we're working with today. I am so excited for this class. I've been wanting to do it for a month. As you know, probably know at this point, I gear up and pick out what we're gonna paint the month before, so I have plenty of time to be excited for all my classes. So we're doing this cute little penguin. I'm really excited for it. It shouldn't take too long, and it should be a good class for kids, or even just beginners who need that practice. That's why I do it in a sketchbook. It's a smaller scale, so it doesn't take as much time. You can do it in about an hour or so, depending on just how big your canvas is. But I do it on this little, it's a 8.5 by 5.5 workbook, essentially. It's a multimedia book. So that's what I'm going to be using today. You can use any canvas you want. I do have a traceable in my Patreon for supporters and patrons alike, and it is available at this size, but it's also available for an 8-10, a 9x12, or an 11x14 canvas. So whatever you're painting on. Yeah, let's go ahead and go over supplies, and then I have a few announcements before we get painting. So again, I'm just using my multimedia book. You can use whatever you want, really. And then for the colors, pretty much just primary colors today. There's not a whole lot going on. The background you can change. So if you want it to be like that natural red and green Christmas colors, feel free to do the green. You can change the color of the Santa hat if you want, or you can do a blue background that's more of maybe a sky. Maybe he's out, maybe he's out in the wilderness. Maybe I'll do a maybe I'll do a blue one today. Who knows? I have the wrong green now, actually. Actually, I kind of like this green. I might use this green. It's really pretty. It's like a dark mint, I would say. I kind of like that. Maybe I'll use that. I plan to do kind of the same background as I did the last one, except we're going to do just a little bit of bokeh. So if you've never done bokeh, it's really fun. And it's really easy with these little things. These are just little daubers. So if you don't have that, that's totally fine. You can either skip this step, or you can just do it with your either your finger or a different, maybe round brush that you have. But we'll go over that as we're doing that. For the colors, obviously you have your black, your white. I already have my white on the palette. Black, white, red are the main colors, and then Choose whatever color background you want. And then I also have raw umber to change the tone of things, as well as darken, maybe add some shadows and stuff, okay? That is pretty much it for the colors. And then you're gonna want to get out your water, paper towel, your palette, and then if you are doing this as a child or as a kid, I think it's really helpful to put some tape down. It keeps things clean and it makes it look more neat when you're done. You can just pull that tape right off very gently, especially if you're using paper like I am. But if you put that, where did it go? Sorry. If you put that on the edges, it just makes it for a really, really clean look when you're done, especially if you want to go all the way to the edges. And I think with this one, I am going to go all the way to the edges. So I'm going to do the bottom one here. And just try to make it, I probably do about 1 centimeter all the way around. So I try to keep it consistent all the way around the edges. So this is just painter's tape. This specific one is from Hippie, which I have all of my supplies listed in the description below. So if you ever are wondering what exactly I'm using, the tape and the paints I'm using from Hippie, and then the brushes I'm going to go over today are mostly from a kit from Grabby, which they are actually doing a giveaway right now, like gift cards and stuff like that. So if you haven't checked them out and you want to, they're doing a fun giveaway on their website. But speaking of giveaways, we are actually doing a giveaway on our website, or on our Facebook right now. So Hippie and I have teamed up to gift you and a friend some paint, as well as a year-long annual membership for my Patreon. So that's classes, quick tips, free traceables for all of my classes. It's a really, really great way to be introduced or just to continue your painting process and your painting journey. So if you have not gone over to my Facebook yet and entered this, please do that. I'm going to post a link right now that has all of my links, including my Facebook. Make sure to go over there on my page, and it's really easy to enter the giveaway. You just like or react to the post, and then you comment, and it's even better if you tag someone who you want to share it with. So it's essentially each one of you are getting a full set of paints, as well as a year-long membership of classes for my Patreon. So definitely go and take advantage of that, because it's going to be amazing. Last week was really fun because we finished these cards. So if you are into watercolor and you want to make some cards with me, last week we did these cards and they were super fun. I apologize for the lighting in that class. For some reason I didn't realize that the lighting was like behind me, and then some of the parts are a little bit hard to see, but you can still totally take the class. It was a lot of fun. And if you don't have time to take the class, but you still want the cards, I do have them available in my shop, which is also in the description box below. Next Friday is in my Patreon. We are doing a little chipmunk, and I will say I changed the photo for it. So on Friday, I will have a class, and it doesn't look like this. It looks a little bit more like this. And I just figured it was a little bit more festive and snowy, and I was really excited for painting this instead of, the other one. So if you are not a patron, then I will have that linked on my Facebook page on Friday. That's when the class goes out. So if you are all about snowy animals, this is definitely a class for you. And then lastly, next week's class is going to be our gnome class. So this is just a beginner intermediate class. Should be a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm really excited for it. Let's go ahead and get started. One last thing, I have a Facebook group that I always talk a lot. in the beginning, so excuse me. Excuse me. I have a Facebook group that you can share your painting with me at the end. So let me find that link real fast. I apologize if that's really, really loud. I can cough over here now. But yeah, so I just posted a link to my Facebook group. That's where you can share your work, and it's really fun for me to be able to see your work. So definitely go and share your cute little Santa paintings afterwards, okay? Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we'll need to do is kind of pre-draw this. You can go over the whole thing with your background color and then draw it in afterwards, but for stuff like this, it's such a small picture that I like to pre-draw it. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and do that. This is what the traceable looks like. So it's pretty much just really round shapes, and I can go over this real fast. Figure out where you want it on your canvas. I put mine off to the side just a little bit. And then let's see. Where'd my pencil go? My pencil disappeared. Oh, there's one. That one doesn't work. Let's see. Doesn't work. Nope. Here, I'll use a red pencil so you guys can see. Okay, so essentially what you're going to do is you're going to figure out where you want it. And then you're going to draw, essentially you're going to draw a 3-tiered snowman. You're going to do a big one here. But the second one is going to be kind of an oval, and then you'll have another one here. Okay, and this is where your arm is going to come out of, this one right here. And this is where the other arm is going to come down. Okay, it's going to come down here and up here, and that's from this middle one. And essentially you'll just add your little legs that come off. Okay, you'll add that. You'll connect his little belly right here. And then after you have this, and if you're using a just a normal pencil on your canvas, then you can erase any of this as you go, which is really nice. Try to draw a little bit on the lighter side. For this, you're just going to follow this circle up here, and then you'll come down and add your little ball and add your little triangle right here. And they can be all big shapes at first, and then you can start just like erasing and defining different things, and then you're going to put in the face. Okay? It doesn't have to be perfect. If you're not comfortable drawing, here, I'll leave this up. If you're not comfortable drawing, that's why I have the traceables, because I know some people don't want to do that and they're not comfortable with it, or you just don't care to draw. That's why I have it available in my Patreon for those of you who just, they don't want to do it. Some like to think of Patreon as a way to tip while getting things from it, and then others like to use it more as a way of like donation. So however you want to see it. If you want to tip, definitely just go in there and you know, subscribe for a month, because then you'll get every access to everything for a month, and you can cancel at any time. So that's that. Okay, it is super quiet in the chat. I would love to see some highs and hellos. Don't make me think that I'm here alone. I see you. I see you that you're here. Say hi and where you're painting from. If you're painting with a child or it's just yourself, I would love to see you guys, okay? I'd love to hear that you're here. I'm gonna go ahead and get my paints out. I'm gonna figure out what I want the background to be. I think I'm gonna do this like bluish green. It's like, they're like one of my favorite colors, and I just found it while I was trying to grab for the other green. And I think I'm gonna do that, because I'm an artist and I can do whatever colors I want. I'm gonna do both these colors because I think they are in the same spectrum of colors. I probably won't need that much, actually. I'm going to put some of that back because that's wasteful. Where did my palette knife go? Be right back. My palette knife is over here. Also, as I got up, my pencil was in my lap. It just like flew out. Hello, pencil. Now that I don't need you. Let's see. Hello from Memphis. Hello, Gloria. Hello, Carolyn from the UK. Ooh, UK. What time is it there? 10, I think. 10:30? Is it 7 hours? 7 hours or 8? I guess it depends on where you are. 8? Either way, it's not early. Okay, so I have that color, and then I'm also going to get out this really pretty. I've used this color before, and I'm like, I love it. So I'm going to use this color too. Hello from Australia. You're even further. What are you guys doing up? 11:30. Yeah. Yep, bedtime. As we moved, we've started schooling my son, and we've shifted from like getting up around like 8:30 or 9, and that's like when we start our day, to getting up at like 7:30, and I have to start thinking about like, I don't know, like 10 or 11 being the new midnight in my head, because it'll be like 10:30 or 11. I'm like, why am I so tired? It's because I'm getting up earlier now, and my body just hasn't like gotten that into my head that I need to go to bed earlier. I just feel like I'm tired all the time. Okay, so now that you have your sketch on there, we are going to have a little bit of fun with some bokeh. And now, because of the scale of my canvas, I'm using the tiniest one, okay? And some of this I'm going to do while it's wet, and then the other parts I'm going to do while it's dry after I do the penguin, okay? So I'm going to grab my grabby brushes. The first couple things that I'm going to use, because I'm on a smaller scale, I'm using my medium-sized filbert, and then I'll probably also use my small filbert. And then I have a small round brush. I'm trying to think if there's anything other. I feel like that's probably all I will need. Yeah, that's probably all we'll need for now. If you want to use a sponge or something else to add texture to the fuzzy parts, you can totally do that. But we will see what we do. I'm going to grab my my bigger one, and I'm going to start in the corner and kind of work my way around, okay? And I'm gonna do dark. Actually, because of the colors I'm using, I'm gonna go dark in the corner, kind of like the corner at the top, and then work my way down to like a lighter. And maybe I'll put some snow on the ground, who knows. So I'm gonna use my darker color. just grab a tiny bit of water just so that it goes a little nicer, goes a little smoother. And I'm going to go into that other green. And I'm just going to start blending this. Now, if you are using paper, the paper really does tend to soak up the water very fast. So if you're using the paper like the multimedia paper, you have to go fairly quickly if you're wanting a nice blend. I'm not going to worry too much about getting a perfect blend because we're gonna do some fun textures in here anyways. So I'm not going to worry too much about getting a perfect blend. I am going to try to blend it a little bit, but I'm not worried like if it's not to like my liking. Alright, I'm going to start mixing this lighter green in with my white. And what you can do is, like, if this part is already dried, you can just go back into that color that you're trying to mix with and just pull those colors up so you can kind of mix it then. And I made it a little bit lighter at the bottom. I think I'm going to go back over it and put some white, and to make it a little bit more like there's like snow in the background. Okay, so I'm going to rinse out my brush because I have a ton of white in it right now and I want to go back up to this dark color. So I'm going to rinse out my brush and I'm going to go back. And I'm not sure, my camera is showing that it's a lot like bluer and less vibrant than it actually is. So let me try to toggle that real fast. Get it a little bit more realistic to what I see, at least. Not really seeing a difference. That's fine. It doesn't really matter if it's different. I actually kind of like that color better. The one that I have is like a tad bit brighter than what I would have liked, but that's okay. Carla, such a sweet reference photo. Did you put anything on your paper before painting? I did not, other than the sketch. Other than the sketch, I didn't put anything on there. If you gesso the paper, that can help the paper not soak up as much of the paint when you're putting it on. So if you do a primer, that can help, but I didn't do that this time around. And I'm just doing the same thing as I'm working my way down. I'm just adding little bits of white. And don't worry about if you go over your lines at all. We'll be coming back through and like kind of fixing any lines that are maybe got painted over. At this point, I'm just kind of trying to make it even with what I painted on the left side. There we go. I think that is pretty good. And before we fix our white drawing, I'm gonna do two things. One, I'm gonna take some white, and I'm just going to, maybe it's got a little bit of green in it. I'm just going to put some in the background. Maybe I'll do two layers. One is a little bit more green and it's a little bit more faded, and then the other one is a little bit more white, so it's like closer. Like that. All right. Now I'm going to take my little sponge dauber. Now, if you don't have a sponge dauber, that is totally okay. You can do this with like a small round brush and just kind of swirl it. But I'm gonna take just like a tiny bit of water, and then I'm going to wring it out and dab it so that it gets like the excess water out. I'm going to get some white and dab it, make sure that it's even. And you can even test this out a couple times. Let's see what it looks like. I'm gonna do it up here in the corner or down here. Let's do a couple times. And then the more you do it, the smaller they're gonna get, and maybe the less defined, and you can use that to your advantage of just placing the snow kind of everywhere. And make sure that some of them touch or overlap. This is a really fun technique for kids because it's super easy, and I feel like there's really no way to go wrong, at least in my opinion. You can add more to your sponge anytime you need to. And make sure that you overlap a little bit of the your little character so that it looks like things are behind him. Because if you try not to touch him, then there's going to be like this outline essentially of like no snow, and it's not going to look as like natural, I guess. Not that it's realistic, but you know what I mean. All right, I think this is good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of white with my, just like a round brush, and I'm going to put a little bit of a dot in the circle, and I'm just going to kind of try to blend it out a little bit. Just to some of them, it doesn't have to be all of them. All right, and we're gonna add more with like ones that are closer. These are just kind of things that are either in the front or the back, however you want to see it. Let's see, I think I'm gonna splatter that now actually, because I think the other ones, nah, we'll do it after. Okay, so the next part is we are going to, I'm gonna grab my my small filbert, okay, looks like this, and I'm gonna grab some white. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place this white anywhere where I need to fix my outline. And this is a great time to change the shape of anything if you need to. But we're just going to fix this. Comes around, and then this little nose right here. And if you can still see the green through it, that's okay. This is just essentially the first coat, and our second coat is what's going to be like the color. And if there's any part of your penguin, of your background that you like didn't go all the way to the penguin, just kind of fill it in with whichever like part of your penguin makes sense to fill that over. So let's say like I didn't go all the way to this like ball of fuzz or whatever. Like I'm just gonna make that ball of fuzz a little bit bigger to cover up like what would be the white canvas, because I didn't cover it up with my background. Does that make sense? Is it ironic that I am like wearing almost the same color that my background is? Can you tell I like the color? That's funny, I didn't even realize. Alright, so you're just going to continue that all the way around. If it's really dark green, then you can go over it a second time. If it is dry, which if you're using the multimedia paper, it probably is dry. So now we have our, like, essentially our perfected outline, our silhouette essentially in white. Now we're just going to kind of fill in the picture. So we're going to work from back to front. Back to front means that we're going to be doing the penguin first, and then we're going to finish with the red and then the white. So we can actually do the red first. Let's go ahead and do the red first. And that's mainly because we're probably going to need a few coats of this, just because red is particularly a little bit more on the less opaque side, I would say. So we'll probably need 2 coats of it. I'm also going to get out my brown so that I can darken it in the places that I need to. So again, I have out my red and my brown. And I'm just going to very carefully fill in this whole place with my red. Look how bright that is. So nice. Going down here, and I'm going to I'm not going to make a line across here because it's kind of fuzzy, so I'm just going to brush around it. And then I'm going to get the tiniest bit of brown and mix it with some of my red, so that I can create a little bit of a darker version for right in this spot right here. Just to create a tiny bit of darkness, like dark shadow. And I can also put that on the sides over here. See that? It's very subtle, but it gives a little bit of shadow. Put that at the top too. All right, so while that dries, I'm going to rinse out my brush and I'm going to mix up the color that I want to use for his fur, because even though we see it as white, if you look at the white of his fur compared to the white of his hat, it's actually a little bit of an off-white. So we're gonna add a tiny bit of brown, and then I don't know if I put this on the list, but I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow. You can do yellow ochre, or just whatever yellow you have. Either one will work. But off yellow or off white is usually like a mix of mostly white and a touch of your brown and your yellow. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix that together. I think I forgot to mention yellow at the beginning, so I apologize for that. I'm gonna grab my white, tiny bit of yellow, and a tiny bit of brown. And I think this was a little bit too much brown. So I'm going to add a little bit more yellow, and then I'll just take some of this and mix it with some more white. And we might still use this color for like the dark parts of the fur. And there we go. So I just mixed what was on my palette knife with the rest of the white. And we have a pretty off-white, except I'm gonna need more than that. So I'm gonna grab some more white. And then I'm going to add a little bit of this off-white color and mix it in. So I have a little bit more to work with. As a beginner, I would highly recommend, if you're not good at mixing yet, which is totally okay, everybody starts somewhere. If you're not good at mixing yet, I would highly recommend trying to mix more than you think you will need, so they don't have to remix it. The other option is that if you are good at it or you want to learn how to do it better, then don't worry about it, and if you need to mix it again, you'll get more practice in trying to mix the exact same color. I just know how hard it is sometimes to mix the same exact color that you used before, and as a beginner, I know that was really hard for me. So depending on, you know, where you're at with it, it's totally okay if you end up wasting just a little bit of paint so that you don't have to remix an entire color by yourself. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and, just as a side note, if you did use a sponge dauber, make sure that you rinse it out. I just place it in my water and squeeze it a bunch of times. That way it will keep it wet for the duration of the rest of the class, and then when we're done, I can properly wash it with soap and water to get out all that paint. If that paint dries in that sponge, it's going to just adhere it all together and you probably won't be able to use it again. Okay, so even though they're cheap, you can make them last a really long time if you take care of them. Okay, let's go ahead and just put our basic shading in here. So most of this is going to be like our bright color, and then you do have a little bit of shading in places. Okay, and then I'm also going to get out my black because there is black in here. The first thing I'm going to do is actually, getting low on my black. Okay, I might need more than that. If I'm using a color straight out of the bottle, more often than not, I will put less than I think I'll need, because then I can always just put more. But if it's a mixed color, then I try to make a little bit more than I think I will need. Which, that in mind, I'm not using this color anymore, and I can just put it back in the bottle. Okay. I'm gonna grab my small brush, my small round brush, and go ahead and put in some of these black areas. I'm going to mix this part with a tiny bit of white so that it comes off a little bit more as like a dark gray, so that the beak can really shine through and be that really, really dark black. So it might look like I'm using black, but I'm actually using just a very, very dark gray. I'm just kind of like painting by numbers at this point, because most of these are going to be fairly flat colors. Maybe we'll add some texture if we have some time. But again, we're trying to make this basic. I'm going to go ahead and fill in this area. with this grayish color. I'm going to go in with a little bit of darker color right here. It's a little bit more of a shadowed black color. And as that dries, I'm going to go in and I'm going to make a pink with my red and my white. Nice little pink there. And if you still have some of your yellow out, you can add a tiny bit of yellow to it so it becomes a little bit more of like a peachy red. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and add this to the tongue. And then I'm gonna add just this tiniest bit of brown to that same color. We're only doing one coat of this, and so this is gonna be the under like the roof of his mouth because it's in the shadow. So we're just going to do that. All right, and you can do as much detail as you want. You can just fill it in, or you can add shadowing, however you want to do it. It's totally up to you. Okay, so there you have that. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse out my brush and put in a little bit of this color that we created, this like white. I'm gonna put that around the tongue. It's like his, I don't want to say lip, but like inner beak. There's also a little line above the upper pink part. It's like the very edge of his beak is white. Like that. I'm gonna go ahead and just fill in this area with this color, this off-white color. Excuse me. And if you want to do it like the picture, you'll add just a tiny bit of like a darker area right there. And I'm going to come back and put the black in a minute. I'm just focusing on the white and then like the shadow areas. Back in with just the plain white part. I'm going to go in with my pure black and go ahead and fill in his beak. Alright, so now this part is also this black. His little bottom, the bottom part of his beak. So I'll go ahead and put that part in. And here's where you can put in like the little pieces of like black over on this left side, if you want. Just depends on how detailed you want to get. And now I'm going to come back up from this area and I'm going to just with a bunch of little strokes add like a transition from that black into the white. Using light little tiny, and if you want it to be a straight line you can totally do that and you don't have to worry about like all the little things. We're almost done with his face. I'm just going to put in a little bit of a highlight of white on his tongue. And then a white of highlight on his beak. And then fill in his eye with black, if you haven't already done that. And then we'll add a highlight on that as well. Little eye. He's cute. He's so cute. Okay. I'm gonna fix his upper line right here. All right, that's pretty much it for that. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my medium filbert and grab some black, and I'm just going to, on the edges of here, I'm going to pull in and you can either do it just on the edge or you can pull it up a little bit. We will be going over this with our white, so if you come up too much, like, that's okay. We will be covering some of it up. And then I'm going to do on the other side as well. The only difference is this is the top of his wing, so we're seeing a little bit more black. So I'm just going to go ahead and really cover up this black part. And then I can just pull it down. Right, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure my brush is all rinsed out. I'm gonna grab this off-white color and just fill in this whole thing essentially. So we have just like this base color to go off of. I think he's very, very cute. I agree with you. Which is why I wanted to paint him. Too cute not to paint. You guys will have to let me know how you've been liking the kids classes. I try to make them more kid friendly in terms of content, and also in terms of like how long they are. What's nice about classes like this is that you can go into detail if you want to, but they're also easy enough that like you don't have to. But feedback is always encouraged if you have any suggestions or anything like that. Next month, I am super excited. I didn't say this in the announcement because I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about it, but next month we are doing a out of this world theme, which you can probably guess. One of the paintings is called Asteroids and Planets and Stars, Oh My. So I'm kind of like geeking out a little bit on this one, but I'm really excited. The whole month is themed around planets and stars and space, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely stay tuned for that if you are if you like that sort of thing. I'm going to come up here and just put some pure white on this section because I still see the green in here. I'm going to, since I'm done with the face, I can fill this in with my white now. But yeah, the kid class for next month is going to be, I don't know if you guys have ever seen those. They're like paintings where there's like a girl or a boy shooting like a flashlight into the sky, and it shows something different than what the normal background is. So I had this idea of, having a normal night sky and then shooting a flashlight and then having like rainbow planets and all these fun things going on within like the flashlight. So that is what I created on my iPad, because I have an iPad now, so I can like create things really, really easily. But yeah, so I'm really excited. That's what we're doing for the kids class one. And it's going to be pretty simple. You can use things to like cut out. Anyways, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited for that. And I think I haven't posted anything on Facebook. So if you follow me on YouTube, then you would have already probably got notified that I added an event, maybe, that I scheduled a live. I actually have all of January's classes already posted here on Facebook, or here on YouTube. So you'll actually get a unintentional sneak peek at all of those. I was trying to get ahead for the holidays so that I don't have to like work during the holidays. Alright, so I'm just filling in this section. I'm not worried too much about this transition yet because I still have to finish the red, but I am changing the shape just a little bit. So I'll need to grab a little bit more white. I'm painting this with my 6-year-old cousin. She's definitely loving it. Aw, awesome. I appreciate you dedicating art time for kids. Yeah, it's just something that I feel like not a lot of people do. And I have kids, and I know I would love that. Every time I do like a kids class, my 5-year-old is like, I want to paint it. Or my 3-year-old daughter is like, I want to paint. Not that they'd be able to follow an instruction like this. So I don't know, maybe. I haven't haven't really ever tried with them because I'm usually teaching. So, but they would probably love it. Okay, so I have most of this done. Excuse me. I'm going to now go in with some texture as we do this. So I'm going to go in with this kind of darker one and just kind of brush on some of this in like the darker areas. I'm kind of just like dabbing it, and if you don't have a lot on your brush, then you can kind of just drag it over too. You can always go back in and lighten anything with your brighter color. You can make it as textured or not textured as you want. You can leave it like this. I'm going to come in with my darker one over here. Like this is going to be a lot darker because it's kind of in the shadow a little bit. And then I'm going to just kind of create a little bit more of a shadow as it just makes sense to me, to kind of give it a little bit more definition. And I'm going to mix these two colors together to kind of get like a happy medium. And I'm just going to go back and forth and add that, and then I can always come back in with some pure white. Oops, that has red in it, so I'm not going to use that. All right, come back in with like your pure white. Just rinse out my brush. It's got all sorts of colors in it that I didn't know were in there. Oh, there we go. Anyways, and you can kind of add maybe some highlights in places. Maybe it's lighter on this side of him. Yeah, it's kind of like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just wherever you feel like there should be some darker parts of it. And I'm going to go back into my black. And I'm going to add black to the bottom here. I'm going to add black to the middle. Sorry, my hand's like completely in the way. I'm going to add black to the middle, and then I'm going to come back with some red. And kind of add some red to it. There's a little bit more of like some red in there. It's kind of hard to see because there's like there's a snow thing like right there. Essentially there's like a little foot right there. And then once that dries, we'll add our little fur on top of it. I'm gonna come back around and add this black back in. It's like all of mine faded away. And then just like before, you can make that transition with the black. With whatever brush you're comfortable with. This one I need to pull in my black just a little bit more. I think he's pretty darn cute. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit of his fur, like on top of this. Just kind of dab it on top of here. And then I'm going to add a little black little nail. I realize there should be some darkness under here. There we go. All right, we are almost done. We just have to finish the hat and then we're pretty much done. I'm gonna go ahead and put little nails right here. They're pretty much just black dots essentially. You can't really see them anyway, so it's totally fine. I'm gonna add one more let's see, one more coat of my white right at the top because that's where the green was, and I really want that to be the same color as the rest. And then I'm going to take some of this off-white color and just add a little thing here, as well as some shadow essentially. And your shadow can be any color. It can be a blue, it can be the same like green color that we've been using. I think I'm going to make mine a little bit of a green color. white. And you can add any amount of like fuzz at the tip of it if you want, or at the like the outer edge of it. I'm just adding some pure white to the tops of these so that it appears brighter than the rest. All right. I'm just gonna do one more coat of my red, and that's only because I went over it a little bit. So if you don't feel like you need to do another coat of your red, then don't. If you do, then do. I'm essentially just doing the same exact thing that I did before. Just adding a little bit of brown to the edges. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We're pretty much done. I think I'm going to change. I feel like I need him to be chubbier right here. Needs more chub. Alright, I think now I'm happy with it. There we go. Gotta have our chubby little penguin. He ate too many cookies. My daughter loves astronomy. Awesome. The next month will definitely be probably her favorite painting month. If she paints. Or she'll love all your paintings. This random is so darn cute. Can't help but smile when looking at your painting. Oh, thank you. I was looking a bit hairy. That's okay. Yeah, that can be fixed. And honestly, so I think this original photo is actually like I think it's like a ceramic penguin. At least it looks like a ceramic figurine of a penguin with like a Santa hat on it. So obviously you don't need that much detail. There's like a lot of detail in all the fur, and I'm just like, I'm not doing that, especially for this kids class. So just do your best, and yeah, for the last part, I'm gonna go ahead and get out a fan brush. You can do this with a toothbrush or a fan brush. Usually a fan brush, you have a bit bigger like snowflakes. I'm gonna try to avoid his face. I just feel like I need to avoid his face. So we will see how this comes out. So you can get this with like a white with a little bit of water. And if you need to practice on your palette, do that. Okay? I think I want mine a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger. And I'm just tapping it. And if you want bigger pieces of snow, you can grab the end of your like the handle, and take that same stuff and place it wherever you want. All right, that's probably enough. But yeah, this is what he looks like. How cute is he? I'm gonna go ahead and sign him, and then we will be all done. I use an acrylic marker. So, sorry, I was distracted because I saw paint splatter on my drink, which is like right behind this space. And I definitely have specks in my paint, in my tea. So I will not be drinking the rest of that, but that is okay. What I was gonna say is I use an acrylic marker for signing it. It makes it way easier. You don't have to deal with consistency or anything like that, like paint consistency, and I love them. So that's what I'm going to be using. But I think I just put that on there and then realized that you can't really see it because it's white. So I'm going to do, should I do black or red? I'm going to do black. that. That's what it looks like signed. I'm gonna go ahead and take off my tape, and you'll see that some of it might bleed, but you still have this really, really nice, clean line, and it looks so good. Look how nice that looks. This is like one of my favorite parts. I figured I would do it on stream. And then if you're using paper, I would highly recommend doing it very slowly so that it doesn't pull on the paper. But if you're using canvas, see right now I can tell that it's starting to peel. So I'm gonna go from the other side. There you go. And there you have it. Look how cute. All right, I love it. Well, anyways, thank you so much for joining me. If you did paint it, I would love, oh my goodness, it would be a good, nice card, wouldn't it? You could put like a little saying right here. Oh, goodness. Oh, maybe I'll have to add that to my cards. Anyways, I would love to see your guys' paintings, especially if you guys painted with me. So head on over to my Facebook community where you can post your paintings, and then yeah, I'll get to see it, and everybody else will too. Okay, thanks so much for joining me, and we will see you next time. Bye guys.